Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are in the midst of Holy Week, and I have a message I want to share with you. But before I do, I just want to say a few words about the Supreme Court ruling on conversion therapy with respect to a case that was unfolding in Colorado. I don't know how more clearly I can say this. Conversion therapy harms LGBTQ people, uh, young people, okay? Sometimes to the point of making life seem unlivable. Conversion therapy, when practiced from Christian convictions, folks, it's theological malpractice. Even if states in our union don't deem it to be therapeutic malpractice. Okay? If you want to read first person accounts from survivors of conversion therapy, check out an excellent book by a scholar and conversion therapy survivor, Lucas Wilson. The name of the book is Shame, Sex, Attraction. If you want a theological, psychological perspective into the narratives of soul violence that many LGBTQ people experience in religious settings, then see the book entitled Christianity, LGBTQ Suicide, and the Souls of Queer Folk. Okay? This ruling will perpetuate harm against LGBTQ minors and churches have a role, okay, in responding to alleviate the harm. Not enough said, but that's my initial reactions to that Supreme Court ruling. I'll have more to say in the future. Here's my message now. The morning began the way mornings are supposed to begin, right? Children arrived with backpacks slung over their shoulders, voices rising, you can just visualize it, and the kids falling into an easy rhythm of laughter and routine. Classrooms fill, lessons begin, and it was, in a very visible way, an ordinary day, one that should have ended with children returning home, carrying stories from school, homework in hand, the quiet certainty of just being safe. And these are the moments we rarely think about when we speak of war. And yet, these are the moments that carry the deepest cost. These, dear friends, are the tears of war. Just after 10:30 in the morning, in Iran, in the city of Minab, that ordinary day was broken. A bomb strike hits a girls' elementary school during the school hours while students were still in their classrooms. The building shook, the walls gave way, the roof collapsed, and in an instant, a place meant for learning became a place of grievous loss. More than 100 children were killed, and dozens more were injured. Families ran towards the wreckage, searching through dust and debris for children who had left home that morning, expecting to return. By nightfall, there were empty seats at the tables across the community, places where children should have been. This is what it means when children are caught in crossfire. And that's not spoken as a phrase, but as a reality. The tears of war are not found in briefings or statements. They are found in the silence that follows a moment like this, in the absence that settles into a home, in the memory of a morning that began like any other and ended in a way no family should ever have to experience or imagine. War often is described in terms of strategy and necessity and outcome. It is framed as something that can be measured and directed and contained. And I think our Secretary of Defense, I know he likes to be called Secretary of War, um, loves to be pompous and almost have war seem like a video game, um, and to glorify it. I just, it sickens me. But moments like what happened in Minab, in that city, reveal something different than war being seen as something to glorify and something that is a necessity. When a school is struck during the day, the line between intention and consequence disappears, and the systems that sustain life collapse all at once. It's the most vulnerable who bear the collapse first, not the decision makers, not those shaping policy, not those rattling the sabers. It's children, because they are closest to the consequences, even though they had no role in the conflict itself. There's no language, there's just no language strong enough to make any of this acceptable. There's no justification that can fully account for it. And this is where the weight of leadership becomes unavoidable. Decisions do not remain in briefing rooms. They move outward into communities, into families, and into lives that had no voice at all in shaping them. When those decisions reach a classroom, okay, something deeper than strategy already has been lost. These too are the tears of war. For people of faith, there are moments that feel like this, moments when the world fractures, when what is innocent suffers, and when we are left standing in the weight of it, asking what it means. This is the space of Good Friday. This is the space that we are asked to enter into during this Holy Week. Not to explain suffering away, but to refuse to look away from it. And yet for people of faith, the story, it doesn't end with the cross, okay? And the Akon. It just doesn't. Resurrection is not the erasing of suffering. It is not a reversal of what has been lost. It does not restore the lives taken or remove the weight carried by those who remain. What it does is to refuse to let death have the final word. Resurrection calls us to live differently because of what we have seen. It calls us to act with greater clarity, greater courage, and yes, greater responsibility, especially when the cost of inaction is borne by those who had no voice in the decisions made. The question is not whether we will remember moments like this. The question is what remembering asks of us. Because remembrance in the life of faith never is passive. It is not something we hold. It is something that holds us accountable. To remember is to refuse to normalize what never should be accepted. It is to ask harder questions before decisions are made, not after consequences unfold. It is to see clearly that those who bear the cost are far too often those with no voice in the conflict itself. This is not political language. It is moral clarity. It is the kind of clarity that refuses to look away when innocence is caught in the consequences of decisions made far from where they land. And so we return to the children, to the classrooms that should have remained places of learning, to the families who now carry an absence that cannot be filled, to the community that will measure time not by what comes next, but by what was lost. These are the tears of war. And if we are to remember, truly remember, then we must ask before another morning like this is broken. We need to ask, what are we willing to accept, and who, in the end, will carry the cost of that acceptance? Amen. Take care. God bless you. God be with you in this holy week. Love you.